move on to B versus C. So let's see what happens. We've got the teams dropping in, and I want to see who actually decides to go for that high-tier loot zone, because so far we haven't seen one team dominate the blue zone. It has been a bit of a mix and match, and some teams are looking to compete, and so far we're seeing Anxiety, Flash, although I think Flash is changing trajectory. They're just like, yeah, nah.
Yeah, it's a little bit too crowded here for me.
But we do have EVOS Phoenix actually looking to drop in as well. So we could see a very early fight amongst Anxiety and EVOS. We do have Expand right next to one of the players from Attack All Around. This might just be more of a scouting move or maybe a quick pick-off if they're lucky, but I don't think we're seeing any more hot drops there. So it's mostly the high-tier loot zone here. So let's take a look, Victor. We're going to be seeing Anxiety's point of view. They're going up against some Goliaths here. It's a big ask, but if they can do some critical damage to EVOS, this is going to be a big morale boost for the team.
Indeed it is, and you know, just getting the loot in this high value loot zone is very, very important here to ensure dominance over this round here. So this is literally a fight to see who's going to be on top on this map here, ladies and gentlemen. Flash now also getting to the mix here. I see a couple of members also walking in straight to try to fight out with Anxiety, as now Yenbin and Shomai tries to fight it out. First blood having already been taken actually by a completely different team there, taking it onto Expanse, but the fight still continues nevertheless. Here is Shomai gets taken down on his knees right now. Anxiety down to 2 players, and they're quickly trying to make their way to the revive point now to bring the team back into play.
There's too many people here though. I mean, Flash has actually come back into the high tier loot zone, so maybe they're going to be the ones to sort of protect Anxiety and let them get the revive, because yeah, Anxiety are out of there. They're not going to bother with that one. I think it's just too close to the action.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with the team later on. But for now, Flash, they're the ones that are going to be in trouble.
Yenbin was the first one on the outside there, and he's got caught up there as EVOS moves in to try to secure their position here on Snowfall, trying to see if they can flush out the rest of Team Flash, who decides to back off. Probably a wise move on their part right now, because it's not exactly a good spot for them to try to hold a fight here. And Souza from FR takes out Jaboya from Anxiety, so that's going to be the first team eliminated in round 2.
I saw on the map actually, so Jaboya was sort of like launched himself right into the team, so he was dead on arrival as he got there. Very, very unfortunate there. I mean, Anxiety, they tried to go for high tier loot zone. They weren't able to compete with EVOS. So yeah, just sometimes you take those risks and it's just going to be a 50-50. Firstly, can you get the good guns? Secondly, are you going to be able to get those shots in? And it just didn't go in favor of Anxiety. So first team already done and out. But I am a little bit worried for everyone else though, right? Because you've now given the high tier loot zone to potentially the strongest team in the competition.
Exactly, and let's see what EVOS will be able to do with that power that they've just gave now. The circle has already come out, smacking that right in the middle here, so I don't foresee any teams having to make some major movements here, as we are riding aboard with Flash right now. Shin trying to run around under the shadow of a UAV right at the moment at Militia. Just probably trying to find some loot now that they were forced out of that high tier loot zone. But I think what's fortunate for them is that there's not much encounters to be had at this stage right now.
Yeah, actually just looking at the map in general, I mean, everyone's sort of dodging everyone at the same time. Like, we've got Nigma spread out. They've got 2 players on the island. They've got 2 players at Stadium just looting up. You've got Sem9 just occupying the very eastern side of the map. We've got Attack All Around, basically occupying the entire western side of the map. There's just no one there. There is Expand Forest Red, but honestly, this team doesn't need to move. The circle looks to be a pretty centered one so far, but I am curious to see what's going to be the final destination for these final circles, right? Is it going to go south, east, west, north? Like, what's the terrain going to look like, and how these teams prepare themselves to get ready for that next upcoming circle? Do they need to go onto the high ground? Do they need vehicles? Is it going to be open ground? Do we need to loot up on glue walls? Do we need to get more snipers? Because it's going to be compound versus compound matches. We really don't know, since it's a very broad circle.
Oh, nevertheless, though, I found it a bit interesting. Enigma Galaxy were confident enough to just basically split their team up a bit to farm both Stadium and Vantage, the island. So let's hope they actually got some good loot there, because now they're going to be very much keeping themselves at the southern tip of the circle here. Meantime, Flash in the middle of a danger zone on the northern side. So
fine, there's no one there.
True. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, that might kind of like keep them a little bit stifled when it comes to being able to spread out fine farm. Now that the danger zone is lifted, I think Flash is going to be free to move. They're going to be moving down southwards and
Yeah.
towards Militia, where X is currently
Oh.
holed up in. And speaking of hold up, first Raiders now, I think they just encountered someone at a long distance there.
Yeah, they found Nero all by himself. So if Nero goes down, this is... I mean, it's going to be a quick drop, although Flash is nearby. So I have a feeling that if they don't get rid of Nero quickly enough, Flash might actually come in and try and third party. It could be a little bit risky.
I do see the rest of MDH actually on the carousel side, so if they want to, they could try to force an issue maybe, but...
I mean, it's early. The teams are really just not pressured to go into each other. There's enough map for everyone to move. But I do want to point out one observation we kind of saw when we had a glance at the map, right? So Arena, our Booyah team from the last round, they are doing a very similar style compared to yesterday. Now, I'm not sure if it's just a case of a today thing. I wasn't really focusing on the team's drop points yesterday, but the team seems to be a team that likes to play in the center of the map. They don't skirt the edges. They like to find a compound. They'll stay there. If a team walks in, they'll try and go for the engagement. Is this a style that you like? Because sometimes I feel like if you're going to play like this, you're not going to really have a good time when it comes to loot, right? Because you're not going to be able to find anything new.
It's the kind of playstyle I think like a team like E-Arena could afford, given they're in the top 3.
Yeah,
So it's
fine.
like, yeah, it's definitely a very safe, quote-unquote kind of way of playing, where you're not really trying to go out and take more risks, right? So
Yeah.
it's more about like, yeah, let them come to me instead. And just, it still very much depends on how the circles turn out as well, because if the circle ends up outside, then yeah, you're going to be forced to walk out anyway. And speaking on that...
Northeastern Circle, and all the teams are there as well. So we've got a couple stragglers. They're going to have to make their way up there soon. But already, I mean, we're seeing a lot of action on the side of Expand. We've got Flash shooting at EVOS here. Sem9 still pretty quiet so far, but Arena. So Arena now going to make another rotation to try and jump into the very center and look for a compound. But so far, we've got EVOS's point of view here going up against Team Flash. Now, they have a lot of glue walls and they have a lot of rocks to hide behind, so they've got cover. It's going to be down to whether or not Flash can rush them.
Yeah, plenty of ice walls already brought up by God Cruz here to try to keep Yanbin behind.
God Cruz has no glue walls left though, so this is all he has.
Oh boy, once those break though, that means there's not going to be anything he can do. He tries to send a
Backstab?
grenade out. That Chrono is going to be able to keep his teammate alive a little bit. Yanbin tries to run away, can't quite get away though, but then unfortunately, God Cruz gets himself knocked down as well. Fortunately for him, a time turner is brought out to keep them both safe under fire right now, where the rest of the team tries to spread out to find the rest of Flash. Tries to get the shot there. Does look like he's got through the Shin though. Shin is down for the count. God Cruz gets himself knocked down yet again in this fight right now as EVOS seems to be keeping things a little bit more secure. I thought it was secure, but already it's down already now. Joyna is trying his very best to hold himself in front. He does take out the last member of Ryan from Team Flash and takes them out of the map.
That's going to be 4 kills going in the way of EVOS. Also, Flash eliminated from the picture. So that means the northern side is going to be free, but now they're going to have to deal with First Raiders as their next opponents. And they are actually looking to prevent them from crossing that bridge. Now, here's the thing I find a little bit worrying here, right? You don't have too much cover for First Raiders. You've actually just got that one vehicle.
Yeah, I think they probably have to dive under the bridge if the issue gets forced, but I think conversely, EVOS could even try to just run around them, because I think if they just go westwards, they wouldn't actually encounter much resistance, and in fact, will be able to bypass the bridge completely.
Moshi's trying to get an angle. Like, he wants to try and snipe somebody. He's just not able to get that free head. Just waiting for someone. Someone just stop preening. Stand up.
Oh boy. Jonger, I think, got spotted a little bit.
There's some
Tries to get a
damage.
shot. Yeah, there's some damage done. Not enough to knock him down completely though, but he's still bringing the fire down there. Already blowing up some of the items around on that bridge, but not quite getting the knockdown he's looking for. He gets a couple more hits on the Jonger now, but doesn't seem to be able to keep him down and stuck on that bridge yet. Nevertheless, ice walls are going to be brought. Moshi's going to try to break them as quickly as he can with his sniper, and he does get a knockdown into Dark Law. So, and he takes him out as well.
Yeah, that bridge was a pretty difficult position to defend, right? Like you're relying completely on that one vehicle to protect you or your glue walls. And if you're using glue walls, that's going to be resources you don't have access to later. So now the team is reeling, they're backing up, and on the other side, it's E Arena. So we could be seeing a really sticky situation for this poor team. First Raiders about to get raided by E Arena on the other side. Now this could be the saving grace. It sort of depends on who focuses on who right now. But so far, position advantage going in favor of EVOS. They have now conquered the bridge. But the thing is, do they know that E Arena is here? I don't think they have any view of this team yet.
Not at all, but then it can certainly be aware that, you know, this is getting very crowded in the circle right now, so they certainly will be expecting trouble up ahead. NGX in the meantime finding a shot onto Fickery from Sem9, and NGX getting even more kills there. Newbie getting taken out with the Mag 7 now. Dewa in the meantime getting some hits onto all attack all around as well. That's another fight that's happening on the southern side. Yeah, and Sem9 is down to only one member left, which is Raja here, and he's going to be getting the heck out of dodge here.
Uh-oh. Look at attack all around, unfortunately going to go down. It was actually Folky that was their last player, so him being eliminated means that that team is now no longer in the running for that booyah. We're still down to 9 teams left though, so this has been a pretty, I want to say, marathon of a game. Everyone's being rather patient. I think not as patient as last game, but teams are still sort of restraining themselves. They're not going for any craziness. Although we saw Dewa, they've just driven in, and E Arena just shut them down! 2 players went down! Oh, what a disaster of a play. Why would you bring a car to a gunfight?
He thought he could provide some cover, I guess, but MDH is also around the corner and then already keeping them suppressed from the center of the circle there. In the meantime, Dewa now stuck on the outside. Rain, the last member left, is going to have to use up all of the glue walls he has in his possession, which is 8-7 now, in order to try to maneuver out of this crossfire here. But he's got Axis on the left, he's got MDH on the right, and that's a lot of resistance he's going to be facing before he could even think about getting close to that safe zone.
Yeah, he's, oh man, I don't even know how you go into the safe zone here if you're dead, or you're just sort of praying that someone else attacks the other team and then it gives you an opening to go in. But look at this open ground. You've got a couple of trees. I mean, your character hitbox is probably bigger than this tree, so you don't have much to hide behind. And MTH, they've got this rock to work with as well, so they've got an amazing piece of cover here to work with. So we'll have to see if Axis and I guess even Dewa, can they squeeze on through? Because it now is down to MDH. Can they get those kills off before the players get too close?
I mean, it's just watching out for Axis, trying to creep their way into the safe zone while the blue zone rolls in around them. Don't Cry tries to get a shot into the Flame 7 before the blue zone inevitably consumes him as well. Now he's going to be moving position into the house now. Perfect cover for them. Now they just continue to reposition themselves, still wanting to try to keep Axis completely gatekept at this point, but already watching out for the other teams that have already made their way into the next circle. Yeah,
MDH looking to cut down Axis Esports, who unfortunately are completely relying on glue walls, and I think that's Sem9 going to be the final team, sorry, the final player, Raja, going down. That's going to be them down and out. And unfortunately for FR, Eclipse and Axis, all these teams just not able to get into the circle. Dewa United in 6th place, all of these teams dropping like flies because there's just not enough space for anybody anymore.
You know what? This really benefits though EVOS right now because they're coming in from the bridge side. Seems to have already taken care of E Arena pretty well because it's still looking like a full squad moving to that next circle. But NGX has already made their way to the eastern side as well, so they're trying to fire at them from across the aisle here. EVOS now
trying
having
to get
some
rid
cover.
of August, that last player left on E Arena. This is sort of revenge, isn't it, right? He was looking to get the revenge here onto E Arena. Although it is a very slow fight as their glue walls. There are still more glue walls. He's like, yeah, nah, man, you're not taking me, not me alive. Unfortunately, he's going to tick out to the blue zone, which is unfortunate. But this does mean we're going to be now left with our last teams, right? So we got MDH in the southern section. Northwest, we have EVOS Phoenix. And on the eastern side, we have Nigma. Although EA, they're going to try and get in there, but no, eliminated to the blue zone. Position-wise, who are you favoring? Like, Nigma is right next to MDH.
I think Nigma is having good position there with that tower, so that's actually providing quite a bit of cover. Nevertheless, though, they're trying to gatekeep EVOS into the next one here. There's not going to be any more circle here. This is the coming to the final circle now, and when the timer comes down, that means they're going to be moving in close to each other. MDH gets caught on the side, though, so now it's going to be EVOS versus NGX. NGX now, Caramel moving forward with the glue walls as cover as he tries to get some shots onto EVOS here.
He only has one left.
Gotta have to watch out for the sniper rifle, though. He does send in a good grenade to keep Moshi under control there. Gets a good hit onto Edina, and that's actually putting him down to half health as his teammate follows up the shots there, keeping them pinned behind that tree.
Yeah, EVOS don't have anything to hide behind. I'm surprised that they're not leaving the tree, so I'm assuming that they don't have any glue walls to play with. It's actually down to Nigma unless they get taken down.
Whoa,
That's it.
what? Like that? EVO somehow fights back despite not having the ideal kind of cover. They found the shots onto NGX and takes the booyah for themselves.
It looked like Nigma were the ones that were sort of encroaching onto EVOS's territory, but it really just came down to getting those